30 years or more, we've really been able to affect a change to the Tampa Bay estuary. We do not have the beach closures that we once had. There are so many more fish and wildlife resources that are responding to improving water quality. And you can really draw or point the finger to three main areas. We no longer have the widespread dredging and filling that we did have in the 50s, 60s, and the 70s. The large-scale shoreline developments are done. Pretty much we're done with the expansion of the shipping channel that runs right up through the middle of the bay. We no longer have widespread discharges from industrial sources or wastewater treatment plants. All of the wastewater treatment plants that discharge into the bay now have to be at advanced wastewater treatment levels, and that's made a huge difference. Downtown Tampa has one of the largest wastewater treatment plants in the Gulf of Mexico. Well, they're discharging relatively very clean water up into the headwaters of Tampa Bay. And when they changed over to advanced levels, you noticed a difference within 5 years in the water quality in the bay. As an indication of how good the water quality is getting, by the late 1980s into the early 1990s, the wastewater treatment plant was improved in the early 80s. We were seeing 300 to 500 new acres of seagrass growing on its own back into Tampa Bay. So the seagrass responds to those improving water quality. And as the seagrasses start to grow, the resources that depend upon a healthy bay also start to be coming back. One example is the scallops. The scallops are very sensitive to water quality, and they blinked out of Tampa Bay about 1960. But because of improving water quality and transplanting efforts by the University of South Florida, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Research Institute, and Tampa Bay Watch, I'm going to show you a cage of scallops hanging off the dock here. Scallops not only can survive in the bay, but they can also reproduce, and they're starting to colonize broad areas of the Tampa Bay system that we haven't seen since the 50s. So resources like the scallops, resources like the fisheries, are all responding to these water quality impacts. And it's really up to us to make sure that we continue those trends, but we also can keep the marine debris from entering the water. We can restore the habitat wherever we can so that the resources have a place to call home, raise their young, find a food source, and shelter. All these things, it's the community that drives the restoration of Tampa Bay. It's the community that's going to be able to drive the restoration of other estuaries around the country. So I thank you for joining us today, and I look forward to giving the tour after the panel discussion so we can see some of these hands-on projects that we're doing here.
Thank you very much, Peter. I think this is an extraordinary effort on your part. I think there's a very strong need for estuarine literacy. I'm not sure when you talk about estuary ecology, people understand what you mean about this rather delicately balanced body of water whose chemistry can easily be affected by what happens on the land. And what you're attempting to do by this wastewater treatment and wastewater discharge is really very monumental. I hope, Peter, that somewhere along the way you'll get your time to do a series about the value of estuaries to the economy of State Florida, so that people understand that it's not just another scientific word that we like to cherish, but that is really important working space for what happens to the quality of the ocean, the quality of life. And I think you have some measures now that scallops are coming back and some marine life is coming back. So it can be improved. And I think people get much more encouragement when they see things are changing. And hopefully get your time to build on that, educate us about what an estuary really is and why it is important to us and why Tampa Bay estuaries are so vital. So thank you, sir. We appreciate what you're doing, and we hope we can work with you, and we hope we can think of you as a member of the team of the campaign. Thank you very much.